I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money. I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots.
Hey! Welcome to I Look Good Naked podcast with Terri
and Cas.
We're doing something. I know. We're doing something a little new this time. We're using technology to do. We use technology all the time, but we're using something, and I feel like we're giving them like some free promo now. So maybe they should consider being a sponsor. We're using a program called Zoom. So Cas is at her house. I'm at my house, and we have a surprise guest that I'm so excited about that's going to join us in a minute. But let's, Cas, do you want to start with your quote?
I do want to start with my quote of the day. So my quote comes from Huey P. Newton.
Woo!
I know, right? He was, brilliant and fine and brilliant.
Is this because it's Black Panther weekend?
It is. It's because it's Black Panther weekend. And of course, if you don't know his history, then go look it up because we're not going to get into that today. However,
he's a Bay Area boy.
Right, he is a Bay Area guy. Well, Terri loves her Bay Area guys.
I do.
Well, it's fine. But my quote comes from him, and I actually have to read the quote. It's not the quickest quote, the shortest quote. But it is, today, the task is to transform society. Only the people can do that, not heroes, not celebrities, not stars. And I think that is so important because we put so much emphasis on media and role models and all of this other stuff as though they are supposed to make things great and make things better. But it's the people, you know what I mean? The people are the ones that have to take action because it's the masses that actually transform change. And even speaking about Black Panther, we've got this amazing movie that has come out and it's a wonderful, and the people are going to go out and the ticket numbers are going to be great. But if we just talk about how great the project was, but we really don't do anything behind it, meaning listen to the message and try to transform that into our community, the film business backing other movies that maybe not had the fanfare, then nothing really changes. The movie just comes and goes and we're like, oh, that was a great movie. So
well, I'm sorry, sweetie. Yes, and it's perfect timing. I love that you picked that for your quote. Definitely, like we said, with the weekend of Black Panther happening. And I was fortunate enough, we went to a screening, Cas and I, earlier this week, and I was able to speak on a panel. And, the overall theme was that, this is going to create another movement yet again, a more conversation yet again about just about our culture, our contribution to artistry, our contribution to the world, not even just to America, but to the world, and how we need to make sure that we keep the momentum and keep it going. Like, what's going to be the next?
What's next?
Right. And I think that we all have a responsibility to get on it. And like all of us creatives and the community that support the creatives, let's keep it going.
And so what does that mean? What does that mean by keep it going? Like what responsibility wise, give me like 3 points how we can keep it going.
So we create product that feature us, that have strong messages, featuring people of color. When we create this product, the community comes out and support those projects.
Absolutely.
But let me say that they should be quality. I'm not saying that we need to just create something that's crappy and we're in it, so y'all just need to come support it. No, I'm saying that we have to keep it up to a standard, high quality, Black excellence, all of that. And then the community should show up and support that. And I guess number 3, you said 3 things, is that we are bringing our kids to participate, to view, to learn from the stuff that we're creating. So I just feel like with the movie, and we'll talk more about it when our guest gets here, but just with this movie, it was so impactful, and I'm so excited for my kids to see this movie, to see images of themselves. And it's not forced, it's just how it is. It's just the world that is.
It's the world they've created.
Yes. And I love that they get to see how powerful we are if we just know that. It's just about knowing that.
Right.
And so that leads me, thank you, Cas, for your quote. And I have my woman of the day that I want to highlight. You know, I'm trying to make sure that we educate ourselves on women in history that we don't necessarily learn about or know about. And I definitely didn't know about this person. And I'm guessing that most of you do not know about Amina, Queen of Zaria. Nope.
No.
Okay. Because, well, 1553 to 1610.
Yeah, that's why we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't go that far
So
back.
she was, let's see, Amina, Queen of Zaria. She was a 16th century warrior queen, present day Nigeria, best known for her impressive military skills and her ability to lead the cavalry, which again brings me back to the movie Black Panther. A lot of strong women in that movie, which is why I picked this card today. Conquered much of North Africa for the Hausa people. That's Hausa. So Hausa people during her 34-year reign, accredited as a brilliant architect who constructed strong earthen walls around the cities she built and seized.
Oh, that makes me think about something.
That makes me think that, you know, Trump should probably have met this person and maybe she could have helped construct this wall he's talking about. I don't know. Overcome traditional gender roles by refusing to marry and have children. Queen Amina's life was the inspiration for the television series Xena Warrior Princess.
You know what?
Funny?
But how about I did hear that that was based off of an African. Well, I heard it was based off of African princess, but of course now queen. But I heard that
she was an African queen warrior and Xena Warrior Princess. I remember that was on the WB, right?
Yeah.
And she was white.
She was very. She was a white wrestler. Wasn't she a wrestler at one time?
I think there was. Was there a wrestler named that? I don't know. But anyway, that
felt like a wrestler played that.
That is our feature queen of the day, Amina, Queen of Zaria. So if you guys want to learn more, go ahead and Google. And I think that's dope.
Yep, I do too.
So I'm really excited. We're going to be interviewing one of my friends, and I kind of want to wait until he gets on so he can hear my intro of him.
Hilarious.
So we will be right back with I Look Good Naked with our first guest of our podcast. Very excited. We'll be back.
Bye.
I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money.
Welcome back to I Look Good Naked podcast. And I am so excited because who has joined us is one of my favorite people in the whole world. He does not know this. We've been friends for a very long time. And he's funny. He's so smart. I used to be so irritated by how smart he was. And I would say he's handsome, but I would not dare say that because, and he's like the older brother that I always wanted.
And was happy when you got given up for adoption. How about that? We were happy when they got rid of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, DL Hughley is in the house.
How you doing, Terry? How you doing, sweetheart?
Thank you. And Cas
What's up?
Cas, hello to DL.
I can't see anybody else but you.
Oh, really? Well, you know, that's fine.
Who cares, right?
I know that makes you very happy.
Right. I don't know any of those other darkies, but I know you.
Oh my God. So DL, thank you. You should feel very privileged because you're our very first guest on I Look Good Naked.
It was between me and the mayor of San Francisco, and who I'm
going to interview her later.
And no one likes politicians anyway. So
well, you're not a politician, but you're definitely very vocal in politics and have been for a very long time.
Well, only because I think that they're so ironic. I mean, I don't have any delusions of grandeur. I just think that politics has kind of morphed into pop culture. I mean, look, you have Barack Obama, who was a pop culture icon, and to a greater or lesser degree, you have Donald Trump, who was president because he was a pop culture icon. He's president because was a reality star. So it's kind of hard to not, to not talk about politics in an ironic way when it's in every, it's permeated every aspect of our society.
Right, but you have been like this for, well, since I've known you.
Yeah.
Very vocal about the community, about our politics, just about everything. That's one of the things that irritated me most about you. It's like every time we would all go to dinner, anything that came up, DL knew everything about it. I'm like, who the fuck is he to know? He doesn't know anybody. But that is one of the things that I love and hated about you at the same time.
Well, thank you, Terry Bond. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you are welcome. So let's just jump right in. There's a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about. Let's see. So that LeBron James and Laura Ingraham situation,
Sure.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, of course. When she said he should shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
Well, it's ironic she would say something like that because she works for Fox News. And when Fox News has, the dude from Duck Dynasty, or they have, a soap opera star, or they have, the dude that, here's the thing, they have Fabio on. They have Fabio giving his political view. I didn't hear anybody telling them to shut up and keep believing it ain't butter.
Hilarious.
Nobody said that.
Yeah.
Look, you've disqualified yourself from any serious argument where you denigrate somebody because of their profession, and you voted for a game show host.
Right.
Let's have a realistic. You voted for the dude who said you're fired, and you thought that qualified him to be president. So if that low bar was set for the leader of the free world, then a basketball player can have an opinion.
And then what about the two guys that were on the news with her, kind of co-signing what she was? Two black dudes. I don't even know their names.
Well. Here's the thing. I don't begrudge anybody their political opinion.
Right.
But there are things that are right and there are things that are wrong.
Right.
It is very hard to take a network seriously.
Right.
That for years forwarded the idea that he wasn't born here, that has run off with every kind of conspiracy theory, and that voted for a dude who was a game show host for president. It's laughable. You got to consider the source. And if those niggas want to be on there pretending like because they have black skin that their opinion is the pervasive attitude of black people, that's fine.
And so,
where they find cats like that at?
What do you think? Do you think there are any benefits to having Trump in the White House? Has there been any benefits? Anything?
Well, the benefit I think is that we get a lot of material, but I think that he clearly he's messed up the blue book value for the president. Mm-hmm. Presidential norms don't exist anymore.
Right.
So now you can fuck around on your wife, and we can know about it. You could grab pussy. You could support. Here's the thing. If you support Donald Trump, you can't make a reasonable argument to me that you're a decent person. You cannot. Wow. I don't care. You have a man that condoned sexual assault and harassment, who's been accused of marital rape and rape by a 14-year-old girl and admitted to grabbing pussy, that supported a pedophile, that supports that has kept people in office that he knew broke the law and lied. Mm-hmm. You have people who he supports racists. Even now, the things that he's saying about the shooting in Florida, trying to blame the FBI.
Right.
Here's the thing. It's the first time black people were for the FBI and white people weren't. It's the first time. He's done that. He's made black people
like the FBI.
The FBI hoping that they indict his ass. But ultimately is this. There are people who would say that the things that in terms of jobs, and they would say, well, which is a misnomer because the jobs have been growing ever since President Obama. Right. He cut the unemployment rate from around 17% to around 7.8. Trump kept that going, and also the black unemployment spike. The things that they say to argue are basically that the economy is doing well. And they said, well, he can't be racist because the unemployment rate for black people was historically low. He's a lie. Right. The last time black people, when we had slavery, the unemployment rate for niggas was 0%, and they still were racist.
Oh my God.
Just because niggas work don't mean that you let niggas work don't mean you like.
So do you think, a lot of people are saying that it's great. One of the things that, even though he's a horrible president,
he's a horrible human being.
Given. Okay. So, but it's like, because now it's in our face, stuff that we never addressed or things like.
But that's silly, Terry.
And stuff that has always been hidden. Now it's in our
It hasn't been hidden. It hasn't.
Addressed.
Well, that's like wearing tight shoes so you feel good when you take them off. That's ultimately what he has done is embolden a lot of people to say the things that they had been saying.
Right.
But let's be clear, we are in the same, Black Panther was a big movie to Black people because it showed us in a positive light at a time we needed it. But imagine how desperate for positive reinforcement we are when we get our inspiration from a comic book. We are so desperate for positive reinforcement of any kind that the two things we can look forward to is a comic book hero and the future. It would be great if you could live in Wakanda, but you don't. You live in Atlanta, you live in Detroit, you live in Chicago, you live in Los Angeles. And right after you left Wakanda, you still could get shot by the police. You still were going through racism and bigotry. But we're so devoid of any kind of positive reinforcement that we're inspired by a comic book hero.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Okay.
And I think if a Black superhero should have any power, it's the ability to make white people believe it.
The ability to make white people believe what?
To make white juries believe them.
That's their superpower. So one last question about the whole Trump and presidency. And this is my last one because I don't want to spend too much of our valuable time on it. If you were the ruler of this country, if you were president, what do you think you would do or want to do to make it better? What can happen?
There's clearly one thing. America's never really given Black and minority children a quality education. Everywhere we got, even when we went to schools, we were allowed to go to school, it was the schools that they didn't want that were run down. We've never been on an educationally equal footing. And what they'll do is they always point out the example and not the rule. They'll go, well, that guy made it, how come they all can't? But the truth of the matter is we've always been behind the educational 8-ball. We have never been on equal footing educationally with anybody in America, and they got a head start, and that perpetuates itself all over the country. It used to be that the America educated the largest numbers of people in the world. I mean, we were factories of educating up until the 70s. And what happened in the 70s is we started having Black people who would go to school with white people, and white people moved out. And when they moved out, they took their resources with them.
Right.
So, so you were left in these fucking educational deserts, just like if you go to a Black neighborhood, you don't see grocery stores. You gotta go, and you don't see places we get educated. So ultimately, what we can do is to make sure that in the future, our children we know, studies show that when Black children go to parochial school, in other words, their parents pay for their schooling, they perform at a higher rate than virtually any other ethnicity. So we know what they can do. Right. We know what they can do given an opportunity, and stop pretending like you've done it because you haven't. You've never been fair to them. Every school we have, when's the last time they opened a brand new school in a Black neighborhood? They never have, ever.
Well, charter schools are popping up now.
Charter schools are what charter schools are doing, and obviously it's I don't like the aspect that it is connected to any kind of financial gain. Right. I think that anytime that you pay taxes, you have the right to having an appropriate public school. Why do our kids got to leave their neighborhoods to go to a better school? What does that tell them? Why do we have to leave our neighborhoods to get food? Why do we have to leave our neighborhoods to go to entertainment complexes? It tells you that where you are is not good enough, and you got to go with them to having it. Wow. So I don't agree. We used to be able to educate our kids, well, pretend like we do, but now rather than fix the educational system, the disparity there, we'll go, we're going to give them even more resources, and you just go there.
Gotcha. Cas, anything on that? Cas, your kids went to charter school, right?
My kids, yes, my daughter still goes to charter school, and it's in my neighborhood. However, I don't live in a neighborhood that's predominantly Black. So there you have it. Right. So I mean, the argument still stands. I mean, and I love the charter school that they go to, but I know that we also looked into other schools, and the reason why I did not choose private school is because I felt that my children, the education is great, but the social environment is also very important. And I didn't want my child to be the only Black little girl or Black little boy in the classroom. And so I had a problem with that. So I opted for the charter school just because now you've got such a healthier social environment. But as far as education, I totally agree. We don't put the resources into our communities. We don't even put Starbucks in our communities. And not to say Starbucks is
No.
a huge resource, but we have no place to convene and even lounge in our community unless it's around the liquor store outside.
We can't go, well, unless it's churches or beauty shops.
Oh yeah, churches and beauty shops.
And I don't go to church because of cover charges. But I think that the message is constantly reinforced that you can't do among your own. You have to go out to get. Look where you have to go to be entertained. When you wanted to go see Black Panther, where'd you have to go?
Right.
When you want to go get fresh food for your family or fresh fruits and vegetables for your family, where do you have to go?
Right.
When you want anything that is considered a normal everyday occurrence, you can't stay there.
Right.
That's right.
So, and that's a constant reinforcement, and I do not understand. And you're not welcome. Like every time I turn around, there's a fast food establishment. I guess Applebee's was recently where they accused these 2 young women of stealing food and kicked them out. Then found out it wasn't them. Even fast food places, if you serve shitty food at low prices, you're virtually inviting us to come. We are killing ourselves making you rich.
Right.
Literally, we're eating ourselves to death so you can get rich, and you got the nerve to even be shitty with me. Give me my ranch dressing and my hot sauce, and let me eat myself to death in peace.
Right.
So it's just everything is an enforcement that they're doing you a favor, that everything's better over there. You can't have that. So it's, and I think if I were president, the one thing I would change is the fact that people get quality educations where their kids can walk to school.
Right. Right. So are you ever thinking about it?
No, it doesn't interest me in the slightest.
That would be so fucking
We would have to change the financial structure though, because if you do that, then now money has to be put towards educators.
Yeah.
They can't get paid as low as they get paid because no one wants to be an educator anymore.
Well, first off, we got to change the paradigm. Where there has to be. We place that, like doctors in America. No other place in the industrialized world where people, or the modern world, do doctors expect to get rich because they're a doctor.
Right.
They don't expect to make money because they're a doctor. That is not normal in the world. It's normal in America.
Mm-hmm.
The educators should be paid fairly, but I think they should be given the respect and the deference. And it shouldn't be like a repository where you just go because you couldn't get another job. Now, if you can pass the test, you can be a teacher. We have to invite we don't want teachers, we want educators. Right. And we have to give them the appropriate respect and the fiduciary commitment so that they are incentivized to be educated.
Right. They save lives,
but I don't think,
like doctors.
Listen, if we respected the teachers' unions as much as we do police unions, we'd have a different situation.
Right.
If we gave the commensurate respect, these other people that you are counting, not only to guide your children, but the future of the nation. Right. But if we don't care about them being shot in schools, what makes you think we care about whether they can read? We need to be what we say we are. And I think absent that, that's the only thing that anybody should be, even a politician. Look how many people who started off as congressmen making they made decent money that are worth 40, 50, 60 million dollars that weren't before.
Right.
There are things that you do for the public good. And being a teacher and being a fireman and being a policeman, they have inherent risk and inherent rewards. Being a politician has risk and rewards. But let's stop trying to, go play their thing. If you want to do a thing that is service oriented, there's a certain amount of sacrifice you have to make. Right. That said, they still should make. Listen, the private sector, they pay them a lot of money because they value them. Right. You should be paid according to how we see you. We shouldn't treat you like a fucking fast food worker.
Right.
But you ain't gonna get rich. You ain't gonna get rich doing it. Nobody ever had.
So I'm thinking about the schools in the neighborhoods where I grew up, kind of neighborhood you grew up.
San Francisco, yeah, for sure.
Do you think? Well, of course, that a lot of it can help at home as well.
But even you gotta. It's a sure. There's enough responsibility to go around, but oftentimes, if you look at a lot of like for instance, I was raised by men and women, by a man and a woman who weren't formally educated. My mother didn't graduate from high school. My father barely did. How much are they going to be able to help me?
Well, not necessarily with school, but just the fact that they were both there for you and they were both there in your lives and guiding you. So what I'm saying is that a lot of these kids are showing up in school, and I'm talking about the hard work that the teachers have. And that's why we should be giving them more resources and even more.
But it's just allocating those resources in an appropriate way. The biggest difference between us and them is your teachers lived in your neighborhood. The noon aides lived in your neighborhood. Policemen and firemen lived in your neighborhood. So in other words, it wasn't a place they came to do a thing and then leave like they were occupying.
They were vested.
They were invested in their community.
Right.
And it's easy. Listen, what if we said, if you are a teacher and you work in the school, we're going to make sure that you can access a home in that area and reduce your rate or incentivize you to live in your community.
Right.
Or policemen to live in their communities, because it's different when you got to see and live among the people that you serve or that you protect.
Right. I agree.
But they all get to live and move and get away from and get to come and do this. That's teachers and firemen and policemen don't do that. Occupying armies do that.
That's good. And see, you're so smart.
Hitler did that, and we have to stop pretending like we don't. The things that we need are so simple. Everybody needs the same thing. You want your children safe and to have a prospect for a chance at a future. That's all that anybody owes us, to keep us as safe as they possibly can, and to make sure the future is as limitless as that individual can make it.
Right.
So, okay, well, speaking from that and going to the movie, Black Panther, where it was this great African community.
Wakanda.
They were Wakanda.
Yes.
And they were thriving, just themselves, taking care of themselves, being able to, they had all the good food, all the good resources, all right there. And then they go to the United States, they go to the United States. Yeah. And then there's talk of we should help people around the world, right?
Right. And then there was a divide.
And then so there's the divide of the king not wanting to infiltrate or not wanting to help outside of their own country because they're like, we got to take care of ours. We can't really be worried about what's happening around the world.
But I think, well, here's the thing. The thing about being a Black person in America is that our stories always start in the middle.
Okay.
They never start from the beginning. We weren't always slaves.
Oh, right.
But all we know is that we were slaves. Our story starts in the beginning.
My God.
Everybody else gets
something so awesome that I heard a while ago is someone was telling me they were talking to a Jewish person and they were asking this mother, how do you guys deal with, explaining the Holocaust and stuff to your kids? And she said that, well, we don't really teach our kids about the Holocaust until a certain age. We start off teaching our kids about the riches and the greatness of being Jewish, of our culture. And then at a certain age, we start teaching them about the Holocaust. And for our kids, they come out the womb learning about slavery.
Yeah, but you got to remember, the Holocaust was a horrible event. But it wasn't as long as slavery.
Right.
So it's really a blip in time. It was a huge blip. I don't want to call it a blip, but it was a moment in time. But it wasn't your introduction to a country.
Right.
Like our introduction to a country. Our story
started.
That would be a page in their story. Right. That's a page and that's a chapter in their history.
Right.
Our entire first part of our book.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But shouldn't we just start off and we would only be able to do it?
But you have to know it. You have to know it.
Yeah, that's right. In America right now, even these are things I find so ironic. Because your ancestors, everything that they do reminds us of how lost we really are. Only in America would they steal you from your homeland and then sell your ancestry DNA kit back to you for $100. So they stole you from where you was from, But now if you pay me, I'll let you know it.
Mm.
That's how everything.
So
they
did you do the
reminds us.
ancestry? Have you done it?
Well, LaDonna did, and I did, and I did it twice, and this is the true story. It came back. We can't find it. It came back. Well, they can't find it. They're like, I think this nigga's alien for real. But twice
It came back like that?
it came back.
Hilarious.
They couldn't describe. They couldn't tell where I'm from.
But yeah, we don't know it. We don't know, like, the difference between
No.
our culture, the Jewish culture, is they can teach the beginning. We have to be going back to educated. We have to be educated to even know the beginning, because our origin of what we know as our history now is slavery.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate, that's the unfortunate part. And it is the middle. It is the middle, and yet, ironically, it's not. Because again, if you don't know the beginning, then there's no beginning to tell, then your beginning becomes your middle.
Right.
So,
and what they say is we're all the same. No, we're not. Or we're all Americans. No, but you can be an American, but at least you could point to where you're from.
Right.
Knowing where you from. Listen, even the things that we attempt, like Kwanzaa, that's Swahili. Everybody does. It's 54 countries in Africa. We're not all from the same places.
Right.
We don't all speak the same language. But in an attempt, and when we talk about Africa, we act like it's just one place. It's not. It's 50. It's not.
Right.
So we can't even we don't even know it is you. People do not realize the psychology, how psychologically damning it is to not know where you're from.
Yeah.
To not know where you're from. And once somebody has taken that from you, whatever attempt that they do, because they're placatory attempts, but you can't give people their humanity back.
Right.
So even when we do it, we got to piecemeal it together. We got to have movies like we got to have Kwanzaa. We got to have Black Panther movies, so we have a semblance of some semblance of self-respect. We are so devoid of any positive reinforcement that the only thing that we have to look forward to is a comic book hero and the future.
Well, but
so things get better later.
Given that, because we know that this is good. So maybe the government should pay for every Black person to get their ancestry done. That's the least they could do for us.
Well, I don't know.
Shouldn't they?
I don't know. I'm past telling the government what they should do.
But even once we get our ancestry done, okay, we've done it. Okay, we got it done. Now what? Oh, okay, now we know. Now it's still up to the people
we
to
can
still
start telling our grandchildren about this is where our lineage starts. Right now,
yes, we can start doing research on it. That's true. But are people doing that now? So then it becomes a call to action. So it's like, yeah, we get the ancestry DNA, and most people are like, oh, great, I'm from Tanzania, from a tribe here and there. But then it stops there. Because again, we aren't even programmed to educate our kids about the richness, as you say. So it becomes a whole cultural change, a mindset that has to change, because we're so great at just stopping with, okay, we got the information. Oh, okay, we were given this information.
But we tell ourselves a lot of stories too, and I wish when I hear people say some of the things they say, I'm just flummoxed by it. Like when they say, well, you know, Black on Black crime, and look what we do to each other. Listen, Black on Black crime is about proximity. If you take a bunch of, it's about proximity. Rich people, poor people kill poor people because they're in closer proximity. But if something happened to you, who would they look to first? The people around you.
Yeah.
And 90% of Black people kill Black people, but 87% of white people kill white people. Asians kill Asians. Latins kill Latins. Husbands kill wives. Wives kill husbands. That's a proximity. You kill what you around. But we even take that mantle further and argue that for them. We say that it's inherent, like criminality is inherent to us. And look what we're doing. The most educated segment of the American population is Black women. But all we talk about is Black on Black crime. The most entrepreneurial members of society are Black women. But all we talk about is how they have kids out of wedlock. So we fight their fights for them, and we once we start fighting for them, we don't even have they don't even need to say anything.
Right. Well, and then going back to the movie,
you don't need a movie. This is the funny thing about it. But DL, don't you should be more proud of your accomplishments that you've actually made instead of a movie.
Well,
Look at what you've done as a Black woman.
I am. I'm super proud of it. But
I'm not talking about you, the person. I'm talking about
I am talking about me as a person. I have done a lot of shit.
But look at what you've been able to accomplish.
Yes.
Look at the things you've done. They are certainly more noteworthy and more worthy of accolades and accomplishments and you know, just all this jubilance as a movie.
But my point about the movie is, and we should all know that art has a strong power in society. Point.
It does.
Period.
Right.
That's true.
And when young people are looking at images that reflect them, whether those images are doing great things, bad things, or whatever, we connect to that. Right. So that's why I'm excited and love that this movie is out, because it shows us in such a powerful light and that is true. There's so much truth in that movie.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, first off, truth is a nebulous thing, but you are absolutely right when you talked about entertainment and positive images.
Yes.
If you look at how far the LBGT community has come, and you know how they went that far? Glee and Ellen and Modern Family.
Okay.
See, black people, we had Martin Luther King. Gay people had Ellen.
Right. Right.
And I'm telling you, instead of civil rights, we should get some great writers. I'm telling you, because I'm telling you, entertainment.
Yes.
Literally, why are we talked about Black women being the most educated? Why are they the most educated? Because of the Cosby Show and Different World. That's why.
Gave us images to look up
That's
to.
why.
Gave us stuff to aspire to. Absolutely.
That's right. So you're absolutely right. So those and the difference between a movie and for instance, a serial TV show is you constantly see those images constantly reinforced
every week in your home.
So it's constant reinforcement, right?
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, when I first used to watch the Cosby Show, I ain't no doctor, no lawyer, and live together and simply. I really could not conceptualize.
Yes.
Now it's so common, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
So you're right that entertainment, a steady stream of entertainment, whether it's positive or if it's positive and negative, can change the way we see things. So you're absolutely right. You're right.
And I think what I love, though, the image, I mean, Black Panther is fine. The Marvel character is fine. My favorite character, Princess Shuri, played by Senegalese. I believe she's Senegalese. I hope she is actress. Letitia, I know is her first name. But she was this amazing technological, she's just this amazing inventor. So she invented all of these things. And I like the show Silicon Valley. Not many of us, none of us on that show. And we as Black women have a very small percentage in that field of technology. You know, there's not a lot of us in.
Well, you know, coding and all that. Yeah, but look at the stories. Listen, you are absolutely right that you can. My point overall is that it saddens me that we've been so devoid of positive messages, so devoid of positive reinforcement, that this kind of took us in a different journey. One is escape, and you get to see yourself in different ways, and that's always going to be a beautiful thing. It just saddens me that's what we have to that we look forward to an imaginary place in the future, and it just makes me sad that had to happen. Not that it's not resonant. You're absolutely right about that, but it saddens me. I lament that is what we're left with.
Well, hopefully what with this will spark real people to want to aspire to these things. And so then it no longer, art imitates life and it'll translate.
That's true.
So that's what I'm excited about most. I'm excited about taking my 8-year-old, my 7-year-old daughter to see this woman who has created all these things in virtual reality. So then it becomes, okay. And she's young. She's the baby sister. So
listen, you're absolutely right. So.
But I agree, it is sad.
Images matter because, listen, in America, we're not made in Jesus' image. We had to make him in ours. We had to make Jesus somebody. People have to invent a Jesus that they could worship.
Right.
Jesus don't look like Brad Pitt from Legends of the Fall. He looked like Danny DeVito. He was short, but he didn't look anything like that. But in order to worship him, to believe something worthy of worship, we had to create an image in him that the masses, the people in power, they could love, they could respect, that they can consider superior. And so you're absolutely right. They matter.
Absolutely.
And there's stories that we tell. I just lament that we are so desperate and have been driven to a point where we have so little positive reinforcement that this is what we're forced to kind of have, and that makes me sad.
Well, I mean, I don't think that you should be sad about it. I think that it's always been like
I got that part covered, Terry. I am.
Well, you shouldn't be, because
I got it covered, Toots.
this is how it's always been, though. It's always the media pushing the images. It's always.
Well, that doesn't. Okay, you know what? I've lost people in my life, and I know they're gone, and I know I'll never see them again. And every once in a while, it saddens me to know that that's a condition, to know that's a reality. Every once in a while, you're reminded of a reality that is so sobering to you that it makes you melancholy. Mm-hmm. And that my father, there have been the moments in history, like President Obama, I guess his inauguration and election probably felt a lot, because we need these things to keep us going.
Absolutely.
And so you're absolutely right. So I'm going to see it, but I wanted to see it when I could, and wanted to see it when I.
Well, your instructions were to see it before we talked today, and you.
Well, you know me and instructions.
Yes, I do. I should have never said. I actually should have said, "DL, do not see that movie before we talk." That's what I should have said. I know better. I messed up on that. That was my bad. Okay, so I want to end on one last funny question. Well, it's not a funny question,
right?
But I'm curious. I am such a huge Kelly Ripa fan.
Uh-huh.
Did you have fun hosting?
I like Kelly Ripa a lot.
Did you have fun co-hosting when you get to co-host on the show with her?
Hey, listen, I have fun. Now what I won't do is anything I'm not having fun at. I won't do anything I'm not.
Okay, well, tell me more about her. Is she super cool?
Well, she's delightful and bubbly and charming.
Does she remind you of me?
And adorable.
Anything like me? Huh? Does she remind you of me?
Only what I always told you this. You're very whimsical. You feel like you're the same.
I do.
You're very whimsical.
Can I tell you some reasons why I think we're kind of the same? We're both Libra.
We're gonna. Well, you making me take my Sunday off to talk about your affinity for a host.
So we're both Libras.
From Black Panther to Kelly Ripa, this is a hell of a podcast.
I'm so well rounded. I got all kinds. So we're both Libras. We're both mothers of 3. We both have a daughter named Lola. We're both married to very handsome men. We're both funny and whimsical, as you say. I take that.
Right.
She's a talk show host. I would love to be a talk show host, but she had her talk show and a half-hour comedy at the same time. Right. That's my dream life. Right. So I think we're the same.
Okay.
Would you agree?
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree. You're the same. Matter of fact, I don't even know who the fuck I'm talking to right now. This ain't Kelly Ripa. Oh, this is bull.
DL, thank you so much. I love you.
Anything for you, woman.
I really do, and I'm so proud of you. I know I don't ever say that ever, but I am.
You have a new book. He has a new book.
Oh yeah, and your book. Yes. Tell us about your book and tell the people to get it.
I have a new book. It's out June 26th. Wow. It is called "How to Not Get Shot and Other Advice from White People."
Great.
So
I love that.
It's satirical and funny, but it's, you know how every time something happened, they'll go, well, if they just didn't resist, or if they complied, or if they didn't have a hoodie on, white people know just how to be if they were black. They know they're, and so maybe we should listen to them. So it's just it's like a how-to, and it's very funny. Has pictures and graphs and outfits to wear and pop-up. So it's very funny.
This is your third book, right, D?
It is my third. But I think this is the. Well, I'll tell you why this is my favorite. Okay. Because it is it's a kind of ironic look at how we justify the things that happen in our society. Mm-hmm. Justify. Like I remember being on Megyn Kelly, and we had this huge argument, and the first thing Megyn Kelly did was, well, we were talking about the young kid that got shot, Philando Castile, and she shifted the topic, and she's like, well, Michael Brown had it. So they always find a way to make the victim the person who's responsible. Right. And the only way that we said this earlier in the podcast, and we talked about how entertainment kind of is one of the things that has society look at itself or make, that makes it vast. And I think when people look at this movie and look at this book and see the statistics and watch how ironic it is, I'm very proud of it from that perspective, because it was hard to be a Black dude to walk into a publisher's office and say, hey, I want to write a book that lampoons your basic views of it.
Well, if anybody can do it, you can.
Well, and I'm very proud of it. So I'm proud of that, and it makes me laugh just editing. So it'll be out.
Cool.
It'll be out. The artwork makes me laugh, so it's very funny, and I'm very proud.
Thank you. Well, I am so proud of you. We're gonna get your book. You can come back and play with us anytime. I know how much
I don't want to be back on your podcast, Terry.
So we'll just end it on that note that DL.
This is our one night stand. This is it. I'll never call you again.
Good naked. Thank you. I love you. Goodbye.
I love you too, baby. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, D. Bye. Yay, that was good, guys.
That was good. We're still recording, you and I. That was fun.
I don't know.
We
where
can still talk.
Probably just went. Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic.
That was. He's so smart. I love being around smart people.
He is so smart.
And you don't want to say anything because you just want to listen.
Right? And I purposely, I was like, okay, this is our podcast, so we can't just not say stuff. But I was like you. It's like I could just shut up and just listen to him
talk.
Yeah.
I
feel so lucky. I have some amazing friends.
You do, because you're whimsical and people like you. Whimsical. He used two of my favorite words: whimsical and nebulous. I love those two words.
Can you give us the definition of nebulous?
Nebulous is a gray area. That means it's not either one way swaying or one way the other way. So it's just a very gray, suggestive area. And that's not your technical definition. I guess I could look up the real definition. But when he said the truth is nebulous, that's what it is. It's from whoever's perspective.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
there are also nebulous clouds. I think nebulous.
Now that is what I've heard of, because my kids are in school and they had to do a whole project, and that was one of the things.
Yeah.
But so, Cass, we're done. We're going to close it out.
We are done. I guess you can close it out. I mean, we were supposed to talk about Black Panther. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yes, go.
It is still an amazing, amazing movie.
And I'm so proud. I got to give another shout out to another person from the Bay, Ryan Hughley.
Oh yeah, but you know what? Okay, so I do have to say this.
That he
is. I mean, he went from fruit. I was looking at the numbers. From Fruitvale Station, I think it was made for $900,000, to Creed, which was made for $40 million, to Black Panther, which was $200 million.
I'm so proud of you, dude.
But it's so many people behind the scenes. Shout out to Ruth Carter. She is a costume designer. I have followed her for a very long time. From Spike Lee days, and she did this. The production, Hannah Beachler, she, the production director, created this city, Wakanda. I mean, the jewelry designer and the makeup artist and the hair, and it was shot in Atlanta. Shout out to ATL. A lot of it was shot here in Atlanta. And so it's just an amazing movie. So go see it, create dialogue, but don't just go see that.
And take your kids.
Our movies, like DL was saying. It saddens him for us to have hope in this character that's fictional, but there's still so many movies. There was Marshall that came out. There was the Henrietta Lack story. There's so many other great stories that come out about real African Americans, Black people doing amazing things, and we have to support them all, even if the marketing dollars aren't there. We still have to support them. That's what makes our stories whole. So
that is true.
Very important.
It is important to go see Black Panther. Absolutely, go see it a couple of times. I do want to shout out a couple of our listeners who did go ahead and make comments and rate us. We got 5 stars from the Organized Home. Thank you for that great comment on our page. And also thank you to Miss Sonia, who said that the sound was messed up when she listened to it. I think that maybe Miss Sonia, maybe it was your speakers, maybe, because we haven't had any issues with, and after we saw that, we like went back and listened to it and make sure, because we do want it to be great for you guys. So just thank you, Miss Sonia, for even making the comment, because we want to get better. And if there's anything that is wrong, please continue to let us know so we can fix it. Again, thank you and shout out to my brother, D.L. Hughley, for joining us today. I love him so much. He's our first guest, so I feel very blessed. And get his book that's going to come out June 26th.
Right.
We'll tell you when it gets sooner.
How not to get shot and other advice from white people.
Perfect.
Yep.
So thank you for joining. I Look Good Naked, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Peace. Bye.
I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money. I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money.